Hey garden friends, today I wanted to talk about 10 things you should know about peonies before you plant. Peonies are one of those plants that reward you for years or they leave you wondering what you're doing wrong. So let's go ahead and talk about 10 things you should know about growing peonies. If your peonies aren't blooming or you're about to plant some, these tips may be right up your alley. Some of these tips are very simple, but there's some important things to know to get the best blooms from your peonies. Now, peonies here in my neighborhood have been a staple since the 40s. Not that I was here in the 40s, but that was one thing that is still in this neighborhood. 40s to 2026, a lot of years. And the gardens, they were planted back in 48, around that time frame, are still going strong. And there's all colors here in this neighborhood, and they love the mountains of Northern California. And I've always loved them. And I knew that would be something that would perform well for me. I just needed to get it right. So let's go through our tips of what you need to know. I do have a video that I did 5 years ago on planting, and I show you how I do it, but I thought this was a great time to update and or do another for you. So tip number 1, do not plant too deep. They do like their eyes. If you get them bare root, you will see the little eyes on them, and in my video I do show that. Maybe I can put a clip here. Hopefully I can find that. Sometimes some of my videos that are so old I cannot find where I stored them. Anyways, you want them just a couple inches below the surface of the soil. And if you plant them any deeper than that, that's when you won't get flowers. You'll get a lot of leaves, but you won't necessarily get flowers. And that is like one of the number one mistakes that people make. They don't realize how shallow they prefer being planted. So number 2, they do like cold winters to bloom well. Now, I had lived in the Central Valley or San Joaquin Valley years ago, and I grew peonies successfully, but there are varieties that will still bloom well if you don't get a long period of winter chill. It was a 9, I think it's a 9B now, that area as far as a zone. But yes, do not give up the ghost if you live in the zone 9 and think you cannot grow peonies. So just check around. Local gardeners would know if peonies will do well. Some also depends not just on how cold it gets, but for how long you get that cold. So that was in the San Joaquin Valley. I got cold enough, long enough to grow them. I grew them so well, I dug them up, divided, and shared with friends, and they grew them. So I know you can, in warmer climates, some warmer climates, grow them successfully and get beautiful blooms. But yes, they do like a winter chill period. Number 3, they do love sun, and at least 6 hours. But just know if you have a hot climate where it gets hot in the spring when they bloom, you may want to put them in afternoon shade. And that's what I did when I lived in the hotter climate. Hot summer climate is I made sure that they got afternoon shade. They were planted in the front, which faced west, so they got the morning sun, but they got faced east, sorry. And then they got the morning sun, but afternoon shade, and that did well. But they do need very good, strong light to do well. Number 4, they can take time to bloom. From bare root till blooming, it can take up to 3 years. But don't worry, just be patient and they will do well for you as long as you planted them shallowly. And yeah, just be patient with them. Now to hasten it, or if you want them right away, some peonies I got at Costco in a big container. So those, when I popped them in, they bloomed right away, so they were mature. So my chickens are talking to me over there. And yeah, I'll give you a shot of them. Let me see, let me turn it around. So there's my garden gals down there. There's my chicken gals out here talking to me. They're getting the sun today. We are supposed to get some rain, so they're enjoying the sun today. I hope you can hear the mountain chickadee. That is such a sweet sound. I love it. Yeah, at the end of this video, I will take you to see my peonies are just coming up. One is, budding well, but I'm going to show you a problem I'm having. Oh, my nephew's cat. No wonder my chickens were putting up a fuss. He was over there. Go home, Red. Yeah, he's kind of a bully to my cat, so he needs to go home. Tip number 5, give them space. If you have them too close together, they can have fungal problems, rob each other of nutrients, or just not do as well. So give them the proper spacing. I planted mine about 3 feet apart, and that seems to have been just right. And yeah, like I said, I'll take you over there to see where they are at right now and how they're doing. So number 5, yes, give them a lot of space. Don't plant them too close together. Number 6, do not over-fertilize. If they get too much, then especially nitrogen, then you can have a problem with getting a lot of leaves and not enough flowers. So a yearly application of compost is probably more than sufficient. You don't really need to give them much of anything else. I know a lot of people do, but like I said, it isn't necessary, especially if you are one that amends your soil well, so it has a lot of good humus in it. Humus, good microbes, etc. So if you compost yearly, you mulch well, or you have a living mulch, you should be good to go with just the application of the compost yearly. Yes, 7, support them early. Like when you first see them coming up, put your supports out. I have a video where I share how I make from inexpensive tomato cages, I make some peony supports. But there are ones you can purchase. I've seen some really lovely ones online. I've seen them in garden centers. So the ones that grow through and they have like a grid, those ones are perfect because they will support the blooms, which can become quite heavy, especially if it rains in your area. And they need that support because when the rain gets on the flowers, it can make them flop. And then they hit the ground and yeah, it just doesn't look pretty. Number 8, ants are normal. I know some people will say that they need ants to open up, whatever. That's not the case, but also the ants are not going to harm your flowers. They just are part of growing peonies. And there's a sugar it puts out that they like, fine. And they will move on once the flowers open fully. They're just there to collect nectar. They'll collect it and move on. Tip number 9, cut them back in fall. This helps, this can help prevent diseases and tidy up the area. Now, do I always get to this? Sometimes not. I haven't had an issue, but it's a good way to prevent a problem before it happens. And it does tidy things up a little bit. Tip 10, they get better with time. And that is so true. The ones that are here in this neighborhood, even ones that have been neglected, are just bigger and better every year. They are absolutely gorgeous. And yeah, so give them time to get started and then enjoy them as they get bigger and better throughout years. Alrighty, number 11. I almost forgot this one. It is very important. Watering. Now, peonies can actually be drought tolerant once established, but they don't perform the best if they don't get proper water. So until they're established, consistent watering is important. But on the other hand, they do not like sitting in soggy soil. So make sure you don't overwater them. With most plants, an inch a week during the warmer months is sufficient. Keep your eye out. You can use the moisture meter. I have found that to be very helpful, because sometimes if it's been very hot and then it's very cool, you're not exactly sure about the watering. So use the moisture meter. It has quite a long stick. I don't know what you call it. Post, stem you put in there. It's much better than using your finger. Your finger will only go down an inch, maybe 2 if it's really soft soil. So that's not where the roots are. Where you want the moisture is down where the roots are. So the moisture meter works if you're kind of flummoxed as to how much water or if it's getting enough. But yeah, consistent watering and keeping it moist is good. You don't overwater and keep it wet. there you go. But if they dry out a little bit, it's not the end of the world if they're established, well established. So hopefully that wasn't confusing to you. But yeah, watering consistently without overdoing it is the sweet spot. Okay, I've got some tips what to avoid. This is a quick recap of this. A few things to avoid. Don't plant too deep. Do not over-fertilize. Don't crowd them. Don't move them too often. And you can dig up and divide them. It works very well once they have bulked up and you want to maybe produce more or just keep them healthy. Digging up and dividing is something you can do. And don't expect instant blooms. So the peonies are not difficult, but they do ask for a little understanding. So if you get the basics right, they'll reward you year after year. And if you stay tuned, coming up soon, I will have a video on great companion plants that you can grow with peonies. And now I'm going to take you over to my peonies, and I'm going to share with you something that's never happened to me before, but this year seems to be the year. Yeah. So look at this gorgeous peony. Look at the full buds. You're going to get my shadow in here, but look at this. Gorgeous. Now this one was planted the same time as this one over here, which I can't even find. Let me see. Yeah, here's the stems, former stems, but I don't see a plant. Oh, there it is. One coming up right down here. You see this? Yeah, I don't get that. And then I have another one right here. Sorry for my shadow. Let me move so I get out of the sun. But look at that. One more. And then down here, you see the stub of one right here. But I don't see anything coming up. And over here, where this is, was my huge one. Oh, I see it coming up, which it should be so much bigger right now. That one is my bowl of beauty that has been here years and years and years. Another one down here. So what's the problem? So you may be wondering what the problem is. Well, all I can think of is, if you see here, this is what was left of the gopher tunnels that I found along my side garden or along the Rose Cottage garden. So all I can imagine is that they've been nibbled on during the winter by the gophers. So I do have a castor oil spray, castor oil that I can mix up a spray to spray in the area. I think I'm going to do that this summer. I've avoided it because I didn't know, and I haven't really researched it a lot. So let me know if you know anything about it. If spraying the castor oil onto the soil interferes in any way with the beneficial microbes that are in the soil. You know, it might be they don't like it. So I didn't want to disturb that. But they are really getting aggressive in my garden. And I have a lot of things planted in cages, and anything new I plant that I think may be susceptible to gophers, then I make sure I put them in the cages. In fact, if you watched a video that I just put out not too long ago, I was talking about I was going to dig up my New Dawn rose and replace it with another climber because the New Dawn hasn't been performing well for me. I could not dig that New Dawn out. It was in a cage and everything, but whatever, the roots have gone through, down, around, I don't know. I couldn't get it up. And of course, there are plants around it that I was trying not to disturb, but I thought it would be a pretty simple task right there. And it was a no-go. I guess I could try again with my root slayer shovel, which it has long tapered end, which may fit down deeper. That is an idea, because I really did want to replace it. I didn't want to deal with it anymore. It's just not performed for me for several years. But anyways, that's one of the things that I have put in a cage that to protect. Everything I've put in cages has done great. No problem with gophers. I never thought I would need to do that with peonies. But I also noticed up in front of my porch, which is right there, I have two missing. I have two peonies completely missing. They have not come up. I can't find them. And one of my roses planted there did get eaten. this winter. So all I could think is the gophers are in there and they're just having a field day. It is interesting. The gophers one year won't bother certain plants. I think, okay, those are safe to have. The next year they will gobble them up. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, so that's what's happening with my peonies. And I have to talk to my neighbors in the neighborhood to see if any of them have had any issues that had had peonies in the yards for decades. Now these all were planted in 2021. Last year they all bloomed beautifully. And then this year, especially my bowl of beauty, which usually gets so tall, like 4 feet tall and is massive, like 6 feet across, it's barely there. So I know there's something odd going on and it has to be the gophers. There's nothing else that I can think of causing this problem. All right, I will see you in my next video. I will do the video on the plants to grow along, or at least what I've had successful growing with as companion plants to my peonies that are left. All right, I'll see you in my next video.